Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel.
Welcome back to the ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will learn about the shocking twists in the Quartermaine family drama as Erika Slezak's brief portrayal of Ronnie comes to a dramatic close. Fans have been on the edge of their seats watching this intricate web of deception unfold in Port Charles, where long-buried secrets about legacies and loyalties are ripping apart the iconic Quartermaine dynasty. A family known for its sprawling mansion and endless power struggles since the show's early days in the 1960s. The revelation hits like a storm over the harbor when Martin, the slick lawyer entangled in the mess, confesses to forging Monica Quartermaine's will, cunningly redirecting the beloved house once a gift from her late husband Alan to Ronnie, who turns out to be Monica's long-lost sister, adding layers of familial betrayal that echo the soap's history of hidden relatives emerging from the shadows. This house, perched elegantly in the hills of Port Charles, symbolizes not just Monica's hard-earned stability after decades of medical triumphs and personal heartaches at General Hospital, but also the Quartermaine legacy of opulence and occasional dysfunction, much like the sprawling estate that has hosted countless family feuds and reconciliations over the years. One might expect the Quartermaine clan to unleash their signature wrath on Ronnie for her role in this elaborate charade, especially given her short time in Port Charles mirroring the rapid-fire guest arcs that have defined General Hospital's storytelling since its expansion to a full hour in 1978. Yet, in a twist that flips the script on traditional family outrage, the family's ire is laser-focused on Tracy Quartermaine, the sharp-tongued matriarch whose no-nonsense attitude has made her a fan favorite for generations. Tracy, portrayed with biting precision by Jane Elliott since the late 1970s, finds herself the unlikely villain in this saga, as her relatives rally against her unyielding stance rather than questioning the deeper deceit. Martin's forgery, a bold move that could unravel legal threads tied to Port Charles elite circles, goes curiously unpunished. No handcuffs, no courtroom drama. Just a stern glare from Laura Spencer and the slam of an ornate updoor echoing through the mansion's grand foyer. This leniency raises eyebrows among viewers, reminiscent of how General Hospital has often navigated ethical gray areas in its plots, allowing characters to skirt consequences to heighten emotional stakes, much like the mob ties that weave through Sonny Corintho's world without immediate repercussions. Why does Martin escape disbarment or arrest, you ask? The show leaves it tantalizingly ambiguous, perhaps teasing future fallout in episodes ahead, keeping the suspense alive as it has since the glory days of Luke and Laura's super couple era in the 1980s. As Ronnie steps forward with her own confession, admitting her complicity in the will scam that threatened to strip the Quartermaines of their ancestral home, tensions peak inside the opulent walls of the mansion, a set that's been a staple since the Quartermaine family's introduction in the 1970s. Tracy, ever the protector of family assets, demands Ronnie's immediate exit, her voice cutting through the room like a scalpel in the OR at General Hospital, where Monica once led with unshakable resolve. But this isn't a solo crusade. Tracy's push to evict meets fierce resistance from the household, forming what can only be described as an emotional human chain of solidarity that binds the family in unexpected unity. Ned Quartermaine, the level-headed executive with a soft spot for redemption arcs, steps up first, his polished suits and boardroom savvy hiding a heart that remembers past betrayals like his own corporate downfalls. Joining him is Brooke Lynn Quartermaine, the fiery musician whose recent return to the family fold has brought fresh energy, drawing parallels to her grandmother's own dramatic comebacks over the decades. Olivia Falconeri Quartermaine, with her warm Italian heritage and unfiltered loyalty, rounds out the trio, her protective instincts flaring as she recalls her own brushes with family scams in Port Charles' underbelly. Together, they confront Tracy in the drawing room, accusing her of unnecessary cruelty toward Ronnie, who they insist deserves at least one night's shelter under the chandeliers before venturing into the uncertain streets of the fictional New York town. The play tugs at heartstrings, emphasizing how quickly bonds form in Port Charles, where characters like Ronnie can infiltrate the Quartermaine circle in mere days or weeks, mirroring the soap's tradition of whirlwind relationships that propel plots forward. They've barely scratched the surface of knowing her, minutes of tense revelations turning into days of uneasy alliance, and now weeks of this lingering drama, but to them, she's family by association. A thread woven into the tapestry of Monica's legacy. How, they argue, can Tracy cast out a woman whose lies nearly cost them their cherished home, a property bought by Alan in a gesture of enduring love that has withstood fires, floods, and familial wars since the 1980s? Ronnie's apology hangs in the air, sincere tears glistening under the mansion's antique lamps, but Tracy remains unmoved. Her pettiness on full display as she demands more than words, perhaps a symbolic pound of flesh to atone for the emotional toll. This standoff highlights the Quartermaine divide, where forgiveness clashes with justice, echoing broader themes in General Hospital's 60-year run of balancing vendettas with vulnerability. Tracy's stance isn't just stubborn, it's rooted in a lifetime of guarding the family's empire against interlopers, from corporate raiders to long-lost kin, making her reluctance feel like a natural extension of her character's storied resilience. Enter Gio, the newly uncovered great-grandson whose arrival injects a fresh dynamic into the fray. His youthful idealism contrasting the jaded elders like a breath of fresh air in the stuffy mansion atmosphere. Gio, with his mysterious backstory hinting at untapped Quartermaine bloodlines similar to past surprise heirs in the show's history, approaches Tracy in the sunlit conservatory. His earnest eyes pleading for mercy in a voice that carries echoes of Alan's own compassionate legacy. Tracy, starved for genuine connection amid her isolation, having extended kindness to Gio without knowing his relation, only to have him question her motives once the truth emerged, finds herself at a crossroads. Her desperation to forge this bond overrides her better judgment, leading her to relent under his gentle cajoling. A moment that softens her steely facade, much like rare tender scenes in her decades-long arc. In doing so, Tracy unwittingly positions herself as the antagonist, absorbing the blame for the household rift when, to longtime fans, she's clearly the wronged party. Victimized by forgery and false kinship in a town rife with such deceptions since its founding in the 1960s episodes. This about-face not only extends Ronnie's stay, but underscores the Quartermaine theme of forgiveness as a double-edged sword, potentially setting up future conflicts where buried resentments resurface, keeping viewers hooked on the endless cycle of drama that has defined General Hospital through super couples, medical crises, and mob intrigues. As Ronnie settles into a guest room for the night, the air thick with unspoken tensions, one can't help but wonder if this uneasy truce will hold or shatter under the weight of more revelations from Port Charles' shadowy past. Next, we will learn about the unsettling return of Nathan and the shadowy hints of a face-and-fueled family curse that could upend Port Charles forever. In the bustling corridors of General Hospital, whispers have been circulating ever since Nathan West clawed his way back from the brink of death. But these aren't the joyful reunions fans crave after a dramatic resurrection. Instead, there's an undercurrent of doubt, a subtle dissonance in his demeanor that sets him apart from the man we once knew, a steadfast detective whose moral compass rarely wavered. Picture this: Nathan standing in the dimly lit lobby of the hospital, his posture rigid, eyes scanning the room with an intensity that feels borrowed from a darker playbook. It's as if the writers have infused him with an invisible weight, making every interaction feel like it's teetering on the edge of revelation. Longtime viewers might recall how Nathan's original arc was built on reliability, from his heartfelt partnership with Maxie to his unyielding pursuit of justice against Port Charles' myriad threats. Yet now, post-resurrection, there's a hollowness to his smiles, a fraction of a second pause before he responds to familiar faces, suggesting that whatever force pulled him from the grave didn't return him entirely intact. Britt Westburn, ever the sharp observer with her medical precision and personal baggage, was the first to pick up on this eerie shift. When she encountered Nathan during a routine checkup scene at the Quartermaine mansion, her face didn't light up with relief. Instead, it hardened into a mask of wary recognition, her brows furrowing as if she'd just spotted a ghost wearing her brother's skin. Britt's history with family secrets runs deep after all. She's navigated the fallout from her own complicated lineage tied to the likes of Liesl Obrecht and the infamous Caesar Faison himself. In this imagined expansion of the storyline, envision Britt pulling Nathan aside in a tense, whispered confrontation, her voice laced with urgency. "You're not quite right, Nathan." It's like looking at you through warped glass. Her intuition isn't just maternal instinct. It's informed by years of dodging the psychological minefields left by Faison's manipulative empire. This moment could serve as a pivotal beat, where Britt's return from her own presumed demise mirrors Nathan's, creating a thematic echo of resurrection and reinvention that binds their fates. If the show leans into this, it opens doors for Britt to become the unlikely detective, piecing together clues from Nathan's fragmented behaviors, perhaps even consulting old case files on Faison's operations to draw parallels. Layered beneath these personal encounters is the glaring void left by Anna Devane's sudden vanishing act, which feels less like a standalone thriller and more like the overture to a meticulously orchestrated symphony of deceit. Anna, the seasoned spy whose disappearances have historically unraveled vast conspiracies, was last seen exchanging a cryptic glance with Nathan during a stackout near the docks, a detail the original Buzz overlooked, but one that amplifies the suspicion. Her abduction, snatched in the dead of night from her secure safe house, coincides too neatly with Nathan's reemergence, prompting speculation that he's either a pawn or the architect in a larger game. Imagine the ripple effects. Valentin Casadini, Anna's on-again, off-again ally, ramping up his search efforts only to stumble upon encrypted messages that hint at psychological experimentation, reminiscent of Faison's old obsessions with mind control and identity theft. This timing isn't accidental. It's a narrative breadcrumb trail leading back to the West family tree, where branches twisted by villainy could now ensnare the innocent. In a deeper dive, consider how Anna's expertise in espionage might have uncovered remnants of Faison's network, perhaps a hidden lab where experimental serums were developed to transfer memories or alter psyches. Tools that could explain Nathan's altered state without resorting to overt supernatural elements. Delving into the core of this brewing storm, the show appears to be weaving the earliest strands of a paternal nightmare, where Nathan unwittingly inherits not just blood but the spectral essence of his father, Caesar Faison. Nathan's pre-death persona was the antithesis of drama, a no-nonsense cop who valued loyalty above all, clashing swords with criminals like the Casadines or the Jerome Syndicate through sheer determination rather than cunning ploys. But observe his recent episodes, those fleeting, enigmatic stares he casts toward old adversaries like Sonny Corinthos during a chance meeting at Charlie's pub, or the way his hand twitches involuntarily when discussions turn to international intrigue. It's as though echoes of Faison's ruthless pragmatism have been spliced into his neural pathways, manifesting in subtle tells, a sharper edge to his interrogations, a reluctance to fully commit to his renewed life with Maxie. Fans might invent a scenario where Nathan experiences vivid flashbacks not his own, but fragmented visions of Faison's heists, like the infamous DVX operations or his cat-hand-mouse games with Robert Scorpio. This isn't outright possession. It's an insidious reprogramming, where Nathan's resurrection involved black market tech or rogue science that grafted paternal instincts onto his core self, turning everyday decisions into potential powder kegs. A legacy like this doesn't rewrite itself overnight. It simmers, infiltrating the fabric of Port Charles' interconnected web of alliances and rivalries. General Hospital has a storied tradition of identity crises. Think of the endless Jason Morgan swaps, the brainwashed Patrick Drake arcs, or the cryogenic revivals that blurred lines between life and legacy, but Nathan's potential haunting elevates it to psychological horror. No dramatic mask or surgical switch, just a son burdened by a father's undying shadow, his actions driven by buried directives rather than free will. Envision the fallout. If Nathan's subconscious pulls strings in Anna's kidnapping, it could stem from a programmed loyalty to Faison's unfinished agendas, like dismantling WSB remnants or reclaiming lost assets in Greece. This twist would force characters like Dante Falconeri, Nathan's former partner, to question every shared memory, leading to a rift that exposes vulnerabilities in the PCPD. Even peripheral figures get drawn in. Jocelyn Jacks, sensing unease during a family dinner at the Corinthos home, might confide in Trina Robinson, sparking a youth-driven subplot that uncovers digital trails linking Nathan to obscure European clinics. Laura Spencer, with her mayor's oversight, could convene emergency meetings only to realize the threat is domestic, eroding trust in those closest to the power centers. The insidious beauty of this plot thread lies in its subtlety, transforming Nathan from hero to harbinger without a single overt villainous monologue. He's not scheming with malice, he's a vessel for echoes that whisper commands in quiet moments, like during a late-night patrol where he hesitates to report a suspicious lead tied to Anna's trail. Sonny, ever the street's smart enforcer, might pick up on it too, his guarded conversations with Nathan laced with probing questions about old ghosts in an invented escalation. Picture a cliffhanger scene where Nathan confronts a mirror, his reflection briefly flickering with face and smirk, hinting at the memory smuggle at play. This isn't mere resurrection drama. It's a meditation on inheritance, where the scariest inheritance skips the genes and hijacks the mind, turning trusted allies into ticking time bombs. Jocelyn and her circle, Vaughn perhaps a nod to a reimagined ally in the mix, could form an informal alliance, cross-referencing Nathan's behaviors with archived footage of Faison, uncovering patterns like synchronized phrases or instinctive maneuvers that scream duplication. As the story arcs toward confrontation, the implications stretch across the canvas, ensnaring Laura in political fallout if Nathan's influence leaks into city affairs, or pulling Sonny into a vigilante hunt that blurs his own moral lines. No coincidence here the pieces align too perfectly, from Britt's vigilant watch to Anna's orchestrated absence, painting Nathan as the linchpin in a revival of Faison's empire. It's a narrative that thrives on unease, building tension through everyday scenes, a shared coffee with Maxie where Nathan's eyes glaze over mid-sentence, or a briefing with Felicia where old instincts flare. The horror isn't in resurrection itself, but in what lingers, smuggled through synapses, ensuring Faison's chaos endures beyond the crypt. Whether it's unfolding on a Sunday episode or midweek, this firestorm is igniting fast, promising twists that could redefine loyalties and legacies in Port Charles for seasons to come. Stay tuned as we unpack more spoilers. The shadows are just getting started.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.